To squeeze in here today, we're going to have an update from Sheriff Rob Mayfield. That's coming up in the, 7 o'clock hour, Andrew? Yes. On this situation with the bomb out in Floyd, which is a crazy story. There's more on Donald Trump. Glenn Beck has been suspended by Sirius XM. That's an interesting thing. Did you hear the clip of what was said? It was an implication that maybe... if Donald Trump were to cross the line, if he becomes president, that the impeachment process would not work, and that there would have to be other means of removing him, and the implied means would it's kind of like it was taking him out.
Someone would have to take him out.
Yeah, and it wasn't Beck who actually said it. However, after it was said. He said, "I completely agree. I completely agree with you." But what I find interesting is Clear Channel is the primary owner of Sirius XM Radio, and I don't think Glenn Beck has been banned or suspended off their Clear Channel radio stations, but they have suspended him on Sirius XM.
This whole thing is interesting, and I was just commenting to Manaski before we went on the air that. We're running a promo, and one of the things in the promo, Glenn says, you have to be willing to take a punch and not give one back. You have to be willing to do this and not do that. It just seems to me so very hypocritical. And also, given the fact that he is so self-described as a godly person, that he would advocate something like this. I mean, we know he supported Ted Cruz. Okay, Ted Cruz no longer running, play with your toys nicely in the playground.
Yeah. You think he should support? I don't think he should support.
I don't necessarily think that he should support Donald Trump, but he definitely has a responsibility not to support the outing, the whacking of Donald Trump.
Yeah, the assassination. I don't think we have any right to determine who he does support or who he doesn't support. I mean, he can support whoever he wants, but that's all he talks about. And you know what? That's the American way. So. What you end up getting is he suffers in terms of ratings, in terms of sponsorship, and the system, the marketplace does its job. But when I think there comes a point where this is the second thing that I think he's done. I think there was another comment that was made that almost implied that there would be an assassination attempt, and I'm not sure if it was him or Obama but either way, you just can't. It's something you can't do.
And here's someone who's
it's irresponsible.
He no longer works at CNN for stuff that happened there.
Yeah.
He was, he has apologized publicly for being divisive. He has said that he was part of the force that divided, if not the Republican Party, then the nation. And here he is again. It's just very hypocritical. He's a commentator. He's not a journalist, so he's allowed, obviously, to have an opinion. But to... try to influence. I just think he needs to take his responsibility as a broadcaster more seriously.
I think he's taking it very seriously. I just think he's whacked. I think there's really a question of I don't know. But one of the issues, wherever you are on Glenn Beck, it happened, and he'll, for those that do support his agenda, he's probably a hero because he's standing up for America, is how he sees it. And he's taking his punch, and he'll be right back. And but no matter what, he is blaming the Drudge Report for his demise in this suspension. He's not even taking. There's not even a bit of responsibility. He's not coming out and saying, "You know what? I listened to it back. I shouldn't have said it that way.
Right.
I was wrong." Instead, it's Matt Drudge who he's blaming for the whole thing. So
right.
I'll play the audio. I have audio, and you can judge for yourself. An interesting story out of New York City. A New York husband has been jailed for beating a man to death. And here's how it happened, and I'd like to know how we all would have handled the exact same situation. The man, they live in an apartment building. The man gets a phone call. The husband gets a phone call. His wife says, a man is trying to beat me and rape me. He gets into the apartment. He sees the man running from her apartment because she was able to get away from him. He catches him and beats him to death with a tire iron. What would you do? He ripped her clothes off, left her lying naked, and she was able to get away. And he beat her. And, he died. Now the guy's got to go to jail. I think I understand you can't allow, a whole vigilante way of life here. We can't allow that. But at the same time, find me a guy that wouldn't do the exact same thing.
Exactly. And the tire iron may be a little extreme.
Well, it was in his hand.
But I just happen to have it.
But,
definitely there would have been repercussions from me physically.
He doesn't know. I can understand that carrying the tire iron when you're going to your girlfriend's wife's house or his house.
I think I don't know how he had the tire iron, to be honest.
Well, I think his wife called and said, I'm being assaulted here.
Yeah,
I need your help. So he grabbed
a
whatever
tire
he
iron.
had.
Yeah. End of the day, most guys probably would react the same way.
Yeah,
your
I
adrenaline
do
kicks
think
in.
so.
It's what's being done to you. Your wife has been violated, and now he's going to jail. She was left naked in the hallway. She called her husband. The guy's 61 years old. He was outside the apartment at the time, probably working on his tires or something. I don't know. But he made his way up and found the guy in the hallway. And she said, I saw my husband. I said, that's him. Don't let him out. And he didn't. And here's a case where the guy was a criminal, had been released. He'd been, faced 19 prior arrests. I mean, maybe we're just not hard enough on the people who should be in jail. And this is like the dad. This is like the dad who's like, look what you made me do. I had to yell at you in front of everybody here at Walmart. Yeah, I made a fool of myself. It's because what you did. And that's really what this guy never would have committed this crime. He never would have beaten anyone to death had this criminal not been released and made his way to his wife's apartment and tried to break in and rape her.
Where was he convicted?
In New York. I don't know.
And how much?
I
what's
can't
his sentence?
find what
Do we know?
I cannot find what the sentence is, but they're saying that he is facing man. Oh, it's saying. I'm sorry. Now it's saying he was put in jail until bail was set, so he's now facing manslaughter charges. I misread the story. So he has not been convicted as of yet. Here's the question: do you think he will be convicted? Gotta wonder. And if so, how much jail time should he do? I'm voting for 0. 619, here's maybe community service on tempers and stuff like that.
Maybe he can change all the people's tires that need
Changing people's tires. But he can't use a tire iron. He's got to figure out a way to do it without the tire iron. 619, here's Chris.